Hmm. I'm going to have to be very, very careful with my words tonight. Uh, I try to keep this family friendly. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard not to get censored or banned. Some of the stuff I've got to say. I'm probably, I'm probably going to lose some subscribers over some of the stuff I got to say. Oh my gosh. You know, I have had a bad weekend. What's up, Red Page? What's up, MH? Had a bad weekend to start off with. I came into this game with a sense of dread, and we had said, you know, all week long, getting out of this Baltimore game without any major injuries is basically a win. That was my big concern. And I was taking notes, and right before we did the onside kick, I was like, well, this isn't as bad of as a loss as it could be. At least, we had a few injuries, but nothing too serious. And then bam. In case you're noticing, I'm wearing my Godwin jersey. I fear his career is over. The I It's been rough, man. And I tell myself every day, all the time, I'm a grown man. And I say it on here, I'm a grown man. This is entertainment. But man, does this stuff affect me sometimes. You're so wrapped up in it. You've invested so much time, so much money, so much energy, so much resources. And there's ups and downs and all that good stuff. But sometimes you just want to scream. Just the rage and the frustration and the inaneness, the insanity, it seems like. Okay. A lot of people messaged me. A lot of people were very upset. A lot of people are upset with Todd Bowles. A lot of people are upset with the scheme, keeping Godwin out there. We'll get to all that in a minute. What I'm upset about is a number of things. One, who are the powder puffs at ESPN that thinks we're a bunch of children? We got one replay of this thing, and I'm screaming at the TV, that's a hip drop tackle. That's a hip drop tackle. That's a hip drop tackle. It should be a penalty. He should have been thrown out of the game. But you couldn't see it because they didn't replay it. And the only replay they had, I recorded it on my phone, and you couldn't see exactly because the legs were all twined up. But I'm like, I guarantee you that's a hip drop tackle. Guarantee you. They got the stupid rule in place because of injuries. We got an injury. Guy's career's probably ended. And they don't throw a flag, right? So I'm thinking, okay. And then you get the message today, the NFL's going to look and possible fine, but look and see if it was a hip drop tackle and all this stuff. All 22 came out about an hour ago. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. This is the play. Now, mind you, I'll get to chat here in a second. This is the play. And I'm going to show you what happened. All right. There's Godwin. Here's Godwin right here. Okay. Here's Roquan Smith, the guy that tackles him. All right. He comes up. He grabs Godwin with both arms, wraps him up, lifts his feet off the ground, and lands on Godwin's foot. On his leg. Now you can see, I could blow this up if y'all want me to. I can do. Here's Godwin's leg. Here's Roquan Smith's legs. He took himself off the ground, dropped his hit, came in from the side, and landed smack dab on Godwin's leg. It is the very definition of a hip drop tackle. And if you don't believe me, I'm going to show you the rules. I might be screaming into the wind here. Like I said, I'll get to chat here in a second. Okay, here it is in big red letters. It is a foul if a player uses the following technique to bring a runner to the ground. Grabs the runner with both hands or wraps the runner with both arms and unweights himself by swiveling and dropping his hips and or lower body, landing on and trapping the runner's legs at or below the knee. Very definition of it. Very definition of it. Okay, so that's all fine and dandy, right? So why is that such a big deal? Well, one, he ended the dude's career, or at least ended his season. We'll stick with that. Two, we were only down by 10 points at this time, and we were moving down the field. Hold on one second. That was a completed pass for 21 yards. That put us almost at midfield. Now you add a 15-yard penalty on that. Guess what? You're in field goal range. It would have been a 7-point game. That would have made all the difference in the world. All the difference in the world. But no, instead, what we got to deal with is probably one of the best players in the league, out for the season, most likely career ending. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. And they don't even throw the flag. Why even have the rule if you're not going to throw the flag when it's so obvious? I am sick of all these rules where, it's sometimes they call it, sometimes they don't. It's if you're going to have the rule, be consistent with it and call the dang thing. And this is a perfect example. We're talking about Roquan Smith here. He's a known hitter. They were headhunting us all night long. You saw what they did to Otten when they were clobbering him, which I don't knock them. I like the way the Ravens play. They play old school. They play tough. They're good tacklers, all that good stuff. But this right here should have been a penalty. But instead, what we got just killed the game, killed everything. And we're it made everybody think, why was he even out there? If we would have got a field goal, then it would have been a different story. Everybody would have been like, oh, we were this close. I haven't even eaten today. This is silly. This is how silly this is. I'm a grown man. I ate a sausage biscuit at about 9 o'clock this morning. I've been sick to my stomach. This is Chris Godwin. He's a great player, a great person. He's not a prima donna. He doesn't get out there and dance around. He's not in people's faces and, crying about his paycheck and how badly he's treated and wanting to get traded to another team. Chris Godwin and Mike Evans are the epitome of how you want football players to be. What's up, everybody? Okay. What's the chat saying? How's it going, Craig? We got Brian Pringle takes Godwin's playing beside Marquise Callaway. Yeah, I should have gave a trigger warning before I showed that replay. Like, this is the same guy, Roquan Smith, who, in talking about Joe Burrow's injury last year in the Bengals or the Bengals Ravens game, he said that's just going to happen when you play us, and and it's true. And I don't mind hard playing and everything, but this was an obvious hip drop tackle. I saw it during the game, but why does ESPN think, oh, we're not going to re-show it, we're not going to replay it? We don't. We've talked about that trend here on the channel about how they're not showing fights. There was even at the beginning of the broadcast, Joe Buck was talking about a replay or one of the officials got mowed over by some Ravens guys coming out on the field, and he just talked about it because they wouldn't show it. When there's fights, they don't show it. When something bad, they just, y'all don't need to see that. It might damage your sensitive little brains or whatever. I'm like, no, I want to see it so that I can see if it was a hip drop tackle. It looked like a hip drop tackle to me. Got the all 22, looked at it, 100% hip drop tackle. No question about it. Yeah, Gulliver, I don't see how he can come back from this. I mean, he had the knee issue. It took him, last year he was not, up to snuff. So it took him 2 years, and this is even worse. We're talking about torn ligaments. His foot was twisted. He couldn't even move it. It was hanging behind him. I think, even if he does come back, he's going to be a shadow of himself. And I hope he comes back. I really do. But yeah, exactly, Joe. Chris Godwin deserves so much better, man. I can't stand the inconsistency. I can't stand it. I can't stand it. I've been pointing out all year. Oh, I guess they're not calling hands to the face this year. Did they get a memo? Did they send a memo out on that? They do this every year. They'll emphasize one rule and then let another rule go. And you're like, well, when did that become okay to do? It's like in this game, Baker Mayfield got hit in the head with a hand, and they called a penalty on that. I'm like, oh, now we're calling that again? Because I've got 50 instances of that in the past couple of years where they haven't been calling it. Especially with Jameis Winston, he never got it called. I can't stand it. You just never know. You never know. And we all know how it is. Every time there's a play, everybody looks around for a penalty. It's killing the game. Nick Gulliver, not only did he get up, if you look at the replay, when he got up, he kicked his leg and hit Godwin's hurt foot. He just did a little, like, it looked to me totally intentional. But yeah, he got up and walked away. And then the other Ravens guy is standing there and he looks down. Godwin's obviously in pain and everything. And he just kind of stands there, didn't call anybody over or nothing like that. Hey, Kate, how you doing? What's up, Lawrence? Oh, MK, how's it going, brother? I didn't even watch the Manning brothers, Joe. They've got it. This is the first time I've seen it. I don't know if they have it on there regularly, but on NFL Plus, on the different, you've got the full game, condensed game, all 22, Spanish version, all that good stuff. Today they had alternate version, and I clicked on it. It was the Peyton Manning stuff. I was like, eh. But yeah, that doesn't surprise me that they would do skits and stuff when the Buccaneers are on. Yeah, I was furious when they just said, "Oh yeah, our producer said they're not going to replay this." I was like, "What?" You don't have to focus on the guy's injury and do a close up, and everybody said, whatever. If you don't want to do that, that's fine. But I want to see the play. Gosh, they drive me crazy with this stuff. It's like after every play, they should replay every angle they got, because I don't want to see Joe Buck and Troy Aikman in the booth. I could give a crap. I don't want to see some reporter on the sideline asking some inane questions and getting coach speak. I don't want to see some guy sitting on the bench picking his nose. I want to see football. I come to watch football. They got all these cameras and they'll only show replays every now and then. You know, it was like Barton had 2 false start penalties. He's our center. How does he have a false start penalty? I want to know. I want to see the replay. No, they were too busy talking and yapping and everything and showing close-ups of guys standing in the huddle and crap like that. Show the replay. I come to watch football. If they would have shown this replay at a different angle, everybody would have seen that this was a hip drop tackle, and the conversation would be totally different today. Yeah, and there was a lot of Ravens fans at the game. Joe Buck's fan, you know, they did an article before the game. They were like, well, you know, this game hasn't sold out, you know, and I understand, you know, the hurricane and the prices are expensive and all that good stuff. But, you know, at the end of the game, I was looking at the crowd and I was like, oh, I'm kind of surprised there's so many people left. And then I realized, oh, it's all Ravens fans. And it was a lot of them. Oh, that fake holding call on Worse. I was so furious. I was so furious. I was like, how? That was it was perfect. Worse did exactly what he's supposed to do. You know, you can grab him like that, close. I mean, don't get me wrong. We did not play a good game. I mean, there's enough blame to go around about why we lost, you know, but I am so frustrated with ref stuff. Just so frustrated with it. All the time. All the time. You know, I've been doing this for many years, and I normally keep track of uncalled penalties. And y'all watch, y'all see, we point out holds here, holds there, face masks here, you know, hands to the face there, uncalled defensive pass interference off it, you know, and I'll make light of it and all that good stuff. But I usually keep track of uncalled penalties, and it is very, very rare, and I try to be as unbiased as possible. It's very rare if the Buccaneers are in the side of the most uncalled penalties of the 2 teams. It's generally the other team. We generally play pretty clean football, you know, and you know, it's just so aggravating when you play a team like the Saints or somebody, and you know, it's holding every play or on big plays and they don't get called, you know, and you're like, why? And it makes you want to go, all right, we need to start playing dirty. We need to start holding. You know, we need to start taking guys out at the knees. You know, we need to hip drop tackle. You know, we need to hit the quarterback. Has not been a good day. And I apologize. I was getting messages. I didn't answer some people. I was just getting so worked up, and you know. So if I didn't answer you back, I apologize for that. What's up, Nestor? And you know, there was the defensive player, Hamilton. You know, he went out of bounds and he came in and he got the interception. I do not blame Mayfield for that interception. We'll see it on the all 22 because you couldn't see the guy. He was out of bounds and he was behind the receiver. He was behind our receiver. And it looked like our guy was wide open. Mayfield, I thought he would, you know, I looked at the all 22 and you could see at Mayfield's angle, he couldn't see the defender because he was out of bounds and he was behind our receiver. And it looked like the other receiver was wide open. That other interception, though, that was 100% on Baker. That was a dumb decision. But man, I used to watch boxing all the time. You know, I've got 20 years of boxing. I love boxing. I stopped watching it. You know, y'all have heard my story because too much sports, it's taking up too much. I had to cut it down, and I picked the Buccaneers. But you know, one thing with boxing, and they say it all the time, and it's always so aggravating to watch a good boxing match or watch a boxing match, and you see a guy just whooping up on another boxer, and then it comes down to the refs. and they, you just go, oh gosh. And, they pick the other guy and you're like, everybody's upset. They're like, there's no way he won. And that's kind of how football has become. You have to beat people so bad that you can't let the refs mess it up. We got to take it out of the hands of the refs. And the refs have a tough job. I am not knocking the refs and saying, they're corrupt or they're, they suck or whatever. I think they do a good enough job with what they got, but we're asking them to do way too much. And I've known referees. I've known it's a culture. It's a weird thing, man. The refs and umpires and these people that officiate games, they've got their own culture, and they see the game totally different. It's a weird thing. I need to do a video on all that, but it's just asking them to do too much. But 100%, Joe. I'm with you 100%. I'd take the loss if Chris Godwin was not hurt. I mean, this game didn't mean that much. I talked about it, all week long. I said, if we win this, we're contenders. But the only game out of the next 4 I care to win is the Atlanta game. That's the only one. If we walk out of this with the Atlanta game and a win, then I consider it, a good stretch, because this was going to be a tough stretch. And now Evans is out until week 12, minimum. I don't know about Tyke Smith. I haven't looked up anything. He's probably in the concussion protocol. He'll be out for a couple of weeks. Godwin's done for the season. So we're going into probably the most important game of the season, crippled bad. We go from being a contender to now, I don't even know if we're going to win the division. It's that bad. I mean, our top 2 guys just taken out, just like that, over a game that didn't matter. I complain about the refs almost all the time, me, man, because, I'm just like, how do you miss that? You're right there. I mean, I pointed out all the time, you're standing right there. You're looking right at it. How did you not see this? But they've got too much to worry about. There's a rule in engineering. The more complex something is, the easier it is to break. The rule book is this thick. They've added 50 rules just for injury related stuff over the past decade. That's way too much for anybody to understand. I've dealt with a lot of lawyers in my life. I used to work for a lawyer. Actually thought about going to law school and all that good stuff. Up in Virginia, you could work under a lawyer for a year and then take the bar exam and become a lawyer just by working under a lawyer for a year. So I was working on that. And I will say this about the law. If you get into any kind of issue where you need legal help, get a specialist. 100%. Do not get a general counsel. Do not get a public defender. Do not get a guy who splashes his name all over the TV or the ads or whatever. Get somebody who is 100% dedicated to what you need, because the legal code is so complex that if you do not work in a specialized field in the law, you're going to get mopped up. I've seen it happen over and over and over again. You get you're going through a divorce and you hire a real estate attorney or an attorney, a general practitioner, that's medical, but a general counsel, whatever. No, you get somebody who knows specifically divorce. Not even child support. Divorce. That's it. That's all they do. If you're doing a business, you get somebody that all they do is corporate tax. That's all they do. because the legal code is so thick. And you go to any law library and just look at the tax code. Just look at your state's tax code. It is a volume of books this long. This is just your state. This is not federal. Federal is shelves and shelves. There's not a single person on this planet that understands the tax code. I'll tell you that. They don't understand it at the state level because you're talking about a volume. You're an encyclopedia. Rules are too complex. So when you get too many rules, that's how people find loopholes. They break. It's a broken system. We all know it. And that's what's happening with the NFL. It's a broken system because there's too many rules. I mean, we were talking immediately after this happened. Everybody was talking about, there's only two, with the new kickoff rules, you can only do an onside kick twice now, and it's because we changed all the rules. Nobody knows what's going on. You got people coming in going, oh, here's this rule, here's that rule. And, it's too complex. Got to whittle it down. It's a sport. It's simple. Cut out all the rules. Oh, no. 2-2. No, 100%. I mean, you can see the score predicted right down there. I predicted the Ravens were going to win. I did not think we were good enough. They are a better team. They showed it. They were tougher. They adjusted better. We got our tackling. Our tackling is our biggest issue on this team. 100%. I've been saying it all year. I've been saying it for years, actually. I've been saying it since Todd Bowles has been here. Todd Bowles, and this is all just speculation. He focuses too much on scheme. He's a clipboard carrier, and he's got these guys so worried about being where they're supposed to be and doing what they're supposed to do that they're not even thinking about tackling. I mean, you saw it last night. There were guys standing there as the guy with the runner was running past them. Because it was like they're just confused. They're like, I don't know what to do. And we've seen it on all 22. How many times have we seen it per game? When we got guys confused, what's going on out there? You shouldn't have that level. It should not be that level of play in the NFL. I can expect that in college. But we got between, I would say 5 times a game. We point out there's guys confused out here. He don't know what he's doing. And that we saw it last night. And when you play somebody like Lamar Jackson, he's going to pick you apart. And that's exactly what we saw. Just broken coverage, man. And poor tackling. Our tackling is atrocious. We're not a tough team. You want to see a tough team? We saw a tough team Monday night. I don't think they missed a tackle. No, that's not true. I think Rashad White made a guy miss because I actually stood up. I was like, oh my gosh, guy missed a tackle. Okay. I don't know where I'm at right now. I really don't. I don't know where I'm at. I know that the fans are pissed at Bowles. I'm going to play this again for all the people that weren't here. Okay. This is the play where Godwin got hurt. All right. Hip drop rules. You can't come from the back or the side. Wrap a player up with two hands or two arms. Lift your feet off the ground. Drop your hip onto their legs. Okay. Here is the play. He's coming in from the side. He grabs him with both arms. Immediately lifts both feet up. These are his feet. It gets confusion because you see Godwin's leg here and then you'll see his other leg over here. But these are his feet. He dropped his hip right onto Godwin's leg. Here's Godwin's leg right under his butt. Right under his hip. Right under his hip. Very definition of it. And we had the ball. We ended up with the ball right here. 15-yard penalty would have put us maybe not in field goal range, but close to field goal range. We were only down by 10. We could have immediately kicked a field goal once we got in field goal range. Onside kick, tried it. If we would have got that onside kick, it would have been the craziest game on the planet. But instead, what happens, our team was just, all the life was taken out of it. I mean, you saw guys were angry. They were throwing their helmets. You know, they were on the ground. I saw guys crying. I saw Baker Mayfield was just distraught. So we lost a player, didn't even get the penalty. I don't know who won the score prediction. I haven't got to it. I can't do math right now. We'll get to that tomorrow. Al did put in his. He's the only one that I haven't added to the big board there. Yeah, right, Tom? You saw that too? Both safeties just stopped and didn't try to tackle Henry. Oh, I was furious. Oh, I was furious. Britt's not making plays. Britt is not making plays. And you know what's even worse about that, Kate, is that Bowles came up. He was a secondary coach. He coaches the quarterbacks and the safeties. That's where he made his bread and butter. That's what he coached before he became a defensive coordinator. And you would think that we would have the best secondary on the planet. Rampage, I don't know what to think. I really don't know what to think. I mean, you know, we go against Bo Nix and we play the most vanilla defense we've ever played. Second most vanilla defense we ever played. We just stayed in quarters coverage, soft zone, the whole game. We've never done that. We're going up against a rookie quarterback, and we basically gave him everything underneath. He just dink and dunked us all the way down the field, all the way down the field. You know, you're like, why would you play such a vanilla defense against a rookie quarterback? And then we go and we play Kirk Cousins, and we play the exact same scheme we played against him in Washington, where he lit us up. You're like, what? He literally threw the football like our defense didn't exist. And they basically didn't. I don't know what to think, man. I don't know what to think. I'm with you, Dino, man. I mean, I don't want to. I don't want to cry on camera. I really don't. Man, I mean, I've been physically like ill. I mean, just Godwin is such a good guy. He's a good player. He's a good teammate. He's a good guy. You know, he's the kind of guy you let babysit your kid. You know, he's just a good guy. You know, and to think that he might not ever play again, man. I mean, you know, because, you know, as he was being carted off, the trainer came over to him and they were doing lip read and everything. And he said to the trainer something like, "Here we go again," or let's do this again, or something like that. You know, he just got over a year of rehab. And then he comes back, you know, and he played hard, but you could tell he just wasn't the same. And this year, you know, he's coming to, you know, he's been working hard. And now, you know, is he going to be able to do this? Is serious rehab here, man. I mean, is he going to be able to do it? Is he going to want to do it? Oh my gosh, I know. He's been killing it this year. Everybody knew his name. Everybody in the football world knew his name. fantasy football, he's like the number one guy. Everybody's wanting Chris Godwin. You know, I mean, he was finally getting the recognition he deserved. Yeah, Rampage. I get what you're saying, man. I mean, he gave up. He pulled our starters in week 17 or whatever it is, 18 now. I don't know. Uh, against Atlanta, and we ended up losing. Gave Tom Brady his first, losing season, his first time losing to Atlanta, blah, 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 all that good stuff. I was furious. I was mad. I was angry. And then we go to Dallas and just stink it up. And it was his defense. It was his secondary that lost us that game, And then, he's like, well, I learned my lesson there. And then, I don't have a problem. I know people are going to disagree with me on this. I don't have a problem. I feel like if you're going to tell your players to play through the whistle, you as a coach, you got to do the same thing. And I think it was the death knell for Cutter, because he had that attitude when the game was out of reach. He'd just run it and, wouldn't try hard. A couple times, he gave up way too early. And I think it killed his career, or it definitely killed him as a head coach with the Buccaneers. I just, God, you're so tore up. You want to blame somebody, and I'm blaming the refs. I'm, I don't know who to blame. It's the football gods, whatever. I don't know. Everybody's mad at balls. Yeah, Rampage, the Godwin's going to be stuck in a dilemma here. He can't retire. He could retire, but, and I hate even talking like this, but, he's going to go through some stuff mentally. He's tore up. I'm tore up. No, he's tore up. It's going to be a while, and you talk to these guys, after injuries and stuff, and they talk about how, they just want to give up, and, but the teammates help him and all this good stuff. But he's going through this again. And, is he going to be mentally wanting to do it? He might be like, this is, I got my family. Is it worth it? All this, but, if he retires, he loses all that money. So he's going to have to stay on the roster and go through the rehab. And it's just a messed up situation. Messed up situation. You get a lot of ads. Not a whole lot I could do about that. But I could turn them off for like a minute. Delay ads. Okay, 10 minutes. We got 10 minutes of ad free. This is a rough one, man. This is a rough. Like I said, I went into this game. I wasn't feeling good emotionally. I've had stuff going on, and I wasn't excited about the game. I actually had a feeling of dread. I'm not saying I predicted this on by anybody. It was more of my mental state going into this. And it's just a game. It's entertainment. God. Why doesn't this happen to the jerks? The Deshaun Jacksons, the Antonio Browns, these guys who just, why does it happen to the good guys? Yeah, Dino. He did have that one drop that kind of upset me, but now I feel bad for yelling at the TV. It's a good pass by Baker, who Baker did not have a good game. He was throwing bad passes, playing a little too frantic, scrambling when he didn't need to, feeling pressure. But We'll get to all that in when we watch all 22. I've got it. I don't have the markers down and stuff. I was thinking we could go through some of it tonight, but I'm just not really feeling it. But, you know, he threw that pass. It was a beautiful pass. Third down, right off of Godwin's fingertips. And, you know, Godwin normally catches those things. We did have some drops in this game that bothered me. Bowles' defense has made a lot of bad quarterbacks look like superstars. You know, and it just shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen as consistently as it does. You know, when's the last time we had a lockdown game where we just dominated defensively? You know, even the Saints game, you'd say, well, you know, the Saints really played like crap. You know, I don't know if it was as much what we did, especially after you watch them Thursday night play. You're like, oof, they're bad. So you know, the injuries this year, they got to look into it. We have five medical doctors on staff. Five. I'm not talking about physical therapist or you know, the weight guys and all that. No, I'm talking about 5 actual PhD medical doctors on our staff. 5. There's something wrong. And I'm not saying that had anything to do with this, but we're just hurt all the time. Tired of it. And I want the NFL to look, but I don't trust them. Don't think they can. I actually spent a lot of today looking for it. They actually had, and I did not know this until today, they have what's called the NFL injury surveillance system that's been in place since the early 90s, where they keep track of all the injuries. And I want to see the data. I want to see the data. I hate being that type of person that does this, but I want to see the data. Are injuries getting more prevalent or least prevalent? I think, you know, after watching football for 50 years, and it seems like it's getting more and more. Guys are getting hurt more and more and more. I don't know what's going on. Me personally, I think it's up here. Because, you know, what you focus on becomes reality, and all these guys think about this. That's why we see these guys not tackling on our team, because they're too busy worried about not getting hurt. And then you get stuff like this. Now they're going to be super scared of getting hurt. Anyhow, I know this is a downer show. I try not to be this way, but it'd be amazing if the Bucs re-sign Godwin again. Heck yeah. We better. I mean, if he wants to play, I don't care. I don't care. Yeah, Joe, and we were so patient with all these injuries. You know, it's like, oh, you know, Evans is hurt. Okay, we'll be patient. Oh, you know, Winfield is hurt. Okay, well, when he comes back, we'll be better. Oh, Vita's hurt. Oh, you know, Cansey's hurt. You know, Jamel Dean's hurt. Oh, you know, Godkey's hurt. Oh, you know. And as fans, we've just been like, okay, when everybody gets back, we'll be good. And when everybody gets back, we'll be, you know, and we're still, you know, we're winning games and all that stuff. But now it just feels like a dagger through the heart, man. And Evans, it's going to be impossible, dang near impossible for him to get 1,000 yards. So that streak's done. I mean, he's at like 300, a little over 300 now. He's going to be out till week 12. He'd have to get like 150 yards a game or something. I don't know. I haven't done the math. I'm just in my head. And Godwin's out for the year. And we don't have, you know, we hear, you know, these guys need to step up. These guys need to step up. Well, they needed to step up all season. You know, the number 3 spot has been up for grabs all season long. Shepard's the closest one. And where was he at last night? Did we even throw him the ball? How many snaps did he get? Let me look. Oh gosh. Am I going to go up? Should we try to be happy? Should we try to get happy here? Or normally y'all guys make me feel happy, but I haven't really even been paying attention to chat. I've just been wanting to rant. Uh, let me look at the game books. Okay. What are we looking at? See how many snaps Sterling Shepard had? Okay. Y'all have probably even already said it in the chat. Sterling Shepard, did he have any catches? He had one target, one reception, 15 yards. McMillan had 8 targets, 3 receptions, 15 yards. Okay, I'm emotional today. I'm going to say stuff that I'm probably going to want to take back, but everything. But I'm tired of him. Okay, so here's the snap counts. What do we got? Shepard, 45%. 45%. He had 45% of the snaps out there. I don't know what my pen's not working. He had 45% of the snaps. One target. Trey Palmer had 72% of the snaps. He had 59 snaps out of 82 out there. What? Let me see. Did he catch a ball? Oh, my brain is fried. Oh yeah, 3 targets, 1 catch, 16 yards. And they played man coverage for the most part. We don't have receivers that can win in man coverage. I'm delaying the ads again. Another 10 minutes. Oh, so I can sit here and do this all night. That's good to know. Okay. Now I gotta fix this chat because it keeps cutting off your name now. How you doing, Al? I'm so far behind in the chat. Oh my gosh, Wayne, we came out strong. We came out, punched them in the face. I love that about our defense. Our offense was just like bam. But at the same time, and I've talked about it on here, it's like we normally don't do well when that happens, especially our defense. If our defense gets burned, this has been a Buccaneers saying since the 90s. With the old Buccaneers with Warren Sapp, John Lynch, all those guys, it was so common for a team to come out and go march down the field and score on us, and then we'd lock it down. And I had that feeling last night. I was like, oh my gosh, we're up, we're winning, we're killing it. We're playing great. And then I kept thinking to myself, I've seen this happen so many times. Oh, that Godwin touchdown that got pulled back. That was the one on that crappy no hold call on Wirfs. And then for the commentators, the announcers, to not call it for what it was. They should have been like, well, that was a ticky-tacky call. Because that's what it was. I agree with you, Rampage. 100%. You got a defensive coach and all these first-round draft picks. There is no way the defense should be getting picked apart on the regular as much as we do. Gulliver, put Mike back out there, and the players touched on it today. These guys wanted to play. Mike wanted to play. You saw him after he was walking around on the sidelines, and the trainer even came up to him and he like brushed the guy off. You know, I was like, oh, Mike's gonna go out there and have ball. He's gonna have a game. You know, I mean, Godwin wanted to be out there. Baker Mayfield wanted to be out there. These guys wanted to be out there. You know, and I saw it when we did the onside kick and even the plays before that. I was like, these guys are playing like they think they can win. They're still out there playing. You know, I think he probably would have had a mutiny if Bowles would have said, "Y'all can't." I'm putting the second stringers out there or whatever. I think he would have lost the locker room. I think. That might be it too. They're just not playing hurt as much as they used to. Guys, and I think it's one of the things that Bowles stresses a lot. You hear him when he's talking to the guys, let's be careful, don't get injured. Let's pay attention to our bodies and all that stuff. And I think he tells his guys, look, if you can't play, if you feel like you're, not able to play at, a certain percentage level, pull yourself out of the game. That's fine. All that good stuff. I'm not a big fan of it, but I don't know, Wayne. I'm torn between that one, not having Mike out there and having Mike out there. That injury was really weird looking to me. I mean, he got hit right in the back of the thigh with that helmet, but it looked like he was hurt right before that. So it was almost like a double whammy, and when he was on the ground, I mean, you could see his leg was stiffened and he was stiff. I was like, oh man. Oh yeah, that screen pass. Yeah, that one when Bowles blitzed, and they said that was a beautiful play by Monken, and you know he knew what was coming. We got to be out coached, no doubt about that. Yeah, it used to be a thing, Al, and that was part of the. I know everybody's different now. It's we don't like masculinity or whatever. People look down on it. They're like, "Oh, that's stupid to play through injuries and stuff." But it was a man thing. You wanted to, you know, you didn't take yourself out of the game. You wanted to play through the injury. Everybody was hurt. You didn't want to be the guy that, saying, "Oh, I can't go in, coach," and everything. It was part of football. It was a toughness. You know, I don't know. Yeah, I remember when John Lynch played with a broken collarbone. Mike Allsop had like a ruptured neck and played. JPP was out there playing with a torn rotator cuff. He couldn't lift his arm for a whole year. He was out there. If you go back and watch the game, I'll pull up all 22. He didn't lift his left arm. He was out there, doing this and everything because he was old school. That mentality. I love watching older games too. I don't do it as much as I wish I could. Yeah, I'd take New over McMillan too. I'd take Ryan Smith over McMillan. I mean, I think he's played admirably when he's gone in there. McMillan could have had that touchdown. It was a pretty good pass by Baker. I mean, it was a little to the outside, but he could have had it. Mm. we didn't have we didn't even have Ryan Miller active, did we? But we had McMillan and Trey Palmer. I don't know. Don't know, man. Don't know. Yeah, I just have no confidence in this defense. You know, we gave up a big run. You know, we were doing pretty decent, stopping the run, and all of a sudden, boom, big run. You know, at a crucial point in the game. You know, if a team has to go 99 yards down the field and score on us with a minute left, I don't have confidence we can stop them. We just don't have that type of defense. You know. Yeah, we're gonna dive into this all 22 starting tomorrow, and just to really try and figure out what's going on. I think I did see a lot of busted coverage back there. Saw some mistakes. You know, the bomb pass. Uh, you know, McCollum had his guy covered and then turned around and like stumbled and let his guy get 2 or 3 yards separation on him. And on that play, Winfield came down. You know, Winfield's a downhill runner, and I applauded him last week, you know, because he was, you know, undercutting routes and everything. But there is a negative to that, and we saw what it was. He wasn't there to cover over the top, you know, and you know, it's just mistakes like that. You know, these small things matter. We're playing professionals. You know, when you go up against a team like the Ravens, you can't make mistakes. You know, and it's really what the NFL really boils down to is who's going to make the most mistakes. That's why I watch, you know, the Jimmys and Joes and not the scheme as much, because the scheme rarely is going to make a difference. What's going to make a difference is somebody messing up, you know, and you can have the best scheme in the world, but if the guys can't do it, you know, or if the guy's lost, or, you know, plays the wrong scheme, or they get the wrong call, the best scheme in the world ain't going to matter. You know, it's really the small details, you know, who's going to beat who's going to make mistakes, and who's going to make the most mistakes. Almost every game comes down to who's going to make the most mistakes. And we definitely made the most mistakes last night. Yeah, well, you know, I didn't think Tucker and Irvin were going to have that big of a game. I thought Rashad White was going to have a bigger game, and he, you know, it kind of worked out that way because he was going to work the outside, the passing, you know, because we see the screen pass as an extension of the run game, and it worked out good when we did it. Uh, you know, so I don't have much fault with that. I think Tucker and Bucky Irvin played a lot better than I expected them to. You know, as a matter of fact, I put my money where my mouth is because I had Sean Tucker and I had Rashad White. I put Rashad White in fantasy football because I figured he would have the better game. And he actually had a great game, numbers wise. The old Broncos run game, yeah. You know, Troy Aikman, he just, if you've ever noticed, he's got huge hands. And if you look at the ball in his hand, it was just like a little toy ball. And he could just, ugh, you know, just, bleh, you know. I don't think he was the best quarterback. He had a lot of talent around him, yes. Yeah, we don't see press much at all. You know, and the guys that do it are really good at it. I wish we had those guys. Yeah, Joe, you know, Don't even get me started on the concussion stuff, the CTE. I made videos about it. Me and Molly did a video about it, just breaking down. Yeah. Rivas was super good. He was just super good. Not so much when he played for us, but yeah, Deion Sanders was very good. You know, he didn't like to tackle. He wasn't a physical guy at all, but he'd shut down his side of the field. But yeah, Rivas he was a cerebral player, man. That guy, he was just so smart. He bait quarterbacks all day long. I'm anxious to get into the All 22 and see exactly what happened. And one of the reasons why I didn't want to get into it today is because I'm emotional. I like to watch the All 22 after the emotions have gone away from the game, so I'm not biased that much when I'm looking. Because you'll start zeroing in on stuff, and you'll start blaming people. Like Britt. Rodney Barber never came out. Yeah. Yeah, you see the guys. Well, look at the announcers like Brian Baldinger and oh my gosh, Woodson. Look at their hands. I mean, they're just mauled up. They got fingers pointing this way and that way, and they're like, "Yeah, my finger was broke during the game. I just told them to wrap it up, went back in." It's like, just a different state of mind, man. Different state of mind. Yeah, we're definitely, the Ravens have kind of got that old school mentality. They're all blocking and tackling, physical mentality, and I like it. I don't like that drop hip tackle that took our player out, though. I mean, if we're going to have a rule against it, throw the flag. Give us that 15 yards at least for, ruining our season. Jerk offs. Oh, JPP, he was so old school. JPP was scary. He was scary. The coaches were scared of him. Everybody that was ever around JPP was scared of him. I was around him for about 5 minutes one time. Nicest guy. But I was scared of him. I didn't want to say anything to piss him off. He took my phone. I was trying to get a picture, and he's got those really long arms. He was like, "Here, let me do it." He just grabbed my phone. I was like, "Okay, go ahead." Offenses were so different, Tom. Yeah, so much different. You know what? It's one of the reasons why I can't watch college football, because they just don't believe in defense, I think. It's just bad defense. Every time I watch college, I'm like, why do they even have the guys out there? The defense doesn't do anything. But, back in the day, defense was a huge part of the NFL. And, the offenses looked dumb most of the time because defenses were just clobbering guys, and the offenses couldn't do anything. You get a lot of really low scoring games. Lawrence, I don't know, but this is going to be a real test for Cohen. I'm trying to catch up on chat, guys. It's going to be a real test for Cohen, and we're going to see what he's got here. Raheem Jarrett, I've been singing his praises, but that's a lottery ticket. I don't know. The guy has never had more than a handful of snaps in a game. He just gets open. I want to see him out there. We're going to see what he's going to be able to do with this. I think we're going to focus a lot more on the run. I think we're going to really work our three-headed monster. I think we're going to use White, in the slot a lot, motion him out. That's just speculation. I mean, we don't have two of the best receivers, if not the two best receivers in the NFL. You got Mike Evans, who can catch a ball, you throw it to him. 50-50 ball. It's more like 90-10 with Mike. You know, you got Godwin, who's sure hands Godwin, third down getting Godwin, yard after catch Godwin. We're missing that. It's gonna be real. We're gonna see what Cohen's get made out of here. I think Sterling Shepard's gonna step up. I like Sterling Shepard, but you know he's built out of glass. Tough guy, but injured a lot. Yeah, Tom, I hated the West Coast offense, and I still hate the West Coast offense. I've always hated the West Coast offense because it was just so, but you know, these slant routes, quick passes, and all that good stuff. And I am so glad that it's kind of gone the way of the dodo because it was like 30 years of West Coast offense, you know, just like, ah. Yeah, we with the blitz, we missed Jackson quite a few times. You know, he's squirrely. We're gonna look at this all 22 and see the pass rush. I mean, what happened? What happened? Because that first series, we just destroyed them. You know, with our blitzes and 2 sacks back to back. They were good sacks too. Yeah, we're gonna look at our pass rush, see if we got anything out of our front four. I saw Cansey, you know, getting free a few times, and I don't know, man. I don't know. Yeah, I saw Logan Hall whiff a couple of times, not just on the pass rush, but on runners. Tom, that's a good question. Did any Tampa defensive player play well? That's a good question. You know, I can't think, you know, just watching the game on the broadcast, nothing really stands out. But we'll see on the all 22. You know, I think they did, you know, but we'll see. Al Rashad's probably got better hands than most of the receivers on our roster right now. He's he might be the best pass catching running back in the league. Yeah, Aikman just when he played, you can see just his like fingers just like wrapped around the ball, and he just ugh, ugh. Oh, Camarda, we cut him. Did y'all see that today? Let, let, let me check and make sure that's my brain is just fried today. Like I said, yeah, JP. The Sue was scary. Sue was Sue was fun to watch. Yeah, I'm the same way. Rampage. College is so boring to me. I try to watch it, but I'm just like it's kind of like it's kind of like watching high school football almost, but a little bit better. Yeah. If you don't have a personal connection to a high school team, you can't watch the game because you're just like, oh, this is bad. Defense doesn't really get good until the NFL, and that's kind of how it is with college. You know, I know like, I got a lot of friends who are big college supporters, and you know, I'll watch games to support them sometimes, and I'm just like, this is hard, man. But I don't have that personal connection, you know. I don't know what happened with Camarda, Tom. He just, I don't know. Now you see why we had 11 wide receivers in the fast facility. Yeah, we were just talking about that last week. Yeah, we looked at our roster and we was like, we got 11. We got 11 wide receivers signed. Yeah. It did seem that way, Joe, didn't it? About all they could talk about was Lamar Jackson, MVP, two-time MVP, two-time MVP. What's up, Edward? Edward, we're going to look at it on the all 22. I don't have it set up. Tomorrow night, we're going to look at it. That interception, I don't blame Mayfield for that one. It did definitely take the wind out of the team. No doubt about it. I mean, like the momentum shifted like just immediately. But you couldn't see that defender. He was literally from Mayfield's angle. He was behind a wide receiver and he was out of bounds when Mayfield threw it. He didn't know that guy was there, and then he jumped in. And so, and that's another thing. I want to look up that rule. They said on the broadcast that a defender can step out of bounds and be the first one to come in and touch the ball. I didn't know that, so I'm going to have to look it up, make sure they're right. But yeah, the second interception was definitely just a bad decision by Mayfield. I don't know what he was thinking there. I mean, it was double coverage. There was 3 Ravens guys there. I don't know what he was thinking. I think he was panicking. Can we trade Dean before the deadline? I hope so. It'd be nice. Trade Dean, get a linebacker or a wide receiver or somebody. And I used to like Dean so much. You'll take a 6 for Dean? Yeah, I don't know if anybody would even take Dean. The contract and the fact that he's hurt all the time. Yeah, Kamara has just hit a wall, hasn't he, Al, here lately? But you got both of them. You got Derrick Henry and Kamara in our fantasy football league. Al, I got your score prediction. I just haven't put it on the thing yet. We're gonna look at all that tomorrow. Today's just a ranting day. I wanted everybody to show the hip drop tackle from the all 22. Yeah, Dino. Yeah, we're definitely gonna look at the holding. I know you like college football. You love West Virginia, Tom. So I said, yeah, I just don't have a. Oh, you're getting ads again. I know, Edward. And how do we let teams just bully us like this? I mean, Bo Nix, Kirk Cousins, Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson had 5. Why is it when teams play us, they set records, franchise records, NFL records, and all that stuff? You can't say you're a good defensive head coach when you're letting the opposing. And I'm not here to bash balls. I'm emotional. You can't say you're a defensive guru and then let teams do this. 5 touchdowns. Worked out great for me because I've got him in fantasy football in my money league. Al, did you play him this week, Al? I know you got him too, right? I had Lamar Jackson and Baker Mayfield 1 and 2 in my money league, and I played Lamar Jackson without even, there wasn't even a question in my mind. I was like, yeah, he's gonna rip our defense apart. I was just hoping we could keep up with them. Yeah, but 100%, Edward. Yeah, you felt the momentum shift. You're like, what? You throw an interception in the red zone? And at first when I saw it, I was like, what was he thinking? But then when I looked at it on all 22, You could see from his angle, you couldn't see the defender. You wouldn't even think a defender would be there because he was out of bounds. Really, there's a slight chance he might come back if we make a playoff run. That's pie in the sky. I'm sorry, I hate to say it, but it's kind of like with Hutchinson. They're like, oh, if Detroit goes to the Super Bowl, he might be able to come back. He might be able to come back and take a snap or something. Use that, but same thing with Godwin. There's no way Godwin's going to be able to go out there and play at a level that would make it worthwhile. Same thing with Hutchinson. You might be able to, in theory, go out there and take snaps, be on the field, but there's no way. There's just no way he's going to be able to affect the game in any positive way. Yeah, I'm sorry, Tom. It's hard to keep track of your flip-flopping, man. Yeah, I knew Lamar was going to go off too. I mean, when we saw the film, we were just like, we got way too many breakdowns in our secondary on a consistent level that Lamar's not going to take advantage of that. I could I couldn't even bring myself to watch Bowles' press conference today. I just couldn't do it. Or yesterday. I couldn't do it. I turned the TV off after the game and literally sat there for like an hour and paced. And I was texting with some of you guys and stuff and with Molly and everything. I was just, and then I stopped. I had to stop. I was just like, I'm getting too freaked out here, man. I was all emotional and I just couldn't watch it. I watched Baker's press conference today. It's hard, Edward, man. We're just always fighting uphill. And it's one of the reasons why Baker Mayfield is so perfect for this team, because he's got that mentality. He's just like, everything's been stacked against him his whole career. And you got Mike Evans, who, for years I've been saying he's the best receiver in the league. He's at least top three. Top three. People they'd be like, come on now. A lot of people didn't even know who Mike Evans was. I'd hang out with my football friends. I'd be like, I'm getting Mike Evans. I've had Mike Evans on my fantasy league for 10 years, since he's been in the league almost. Because every year, nobody picks him up. Nobody knows who he is. And I'll be like, well, I'm going to grab Mike. He's just sitting here. I can't believe it's the third, fourth round. Nobody's picked up Mike Evans. So I'll pick him up. Nobody knows who he is. Every year, he consistently gets me points, And same thing with Godwin. And this year, finally, Godwin was getting some national recognition. And Evans has gotten national recognition for his 1,000-yard stuff. But we just always been an underdog team, and you're getting ads every 4 minutes. Good grief! All right, let me go turn ads off again. Man, that's ridiculous. If you're getting ads, why are you not making any money? If y'all getting ads that much. I don't know, Edward. I've been saying this for years. I don't think Bowles plays situational football. I think he's such a theorist, a clipboard guy, that he's worried that opposing teams are going to pick up on tendencies that he has in play calling, which is, it happens. And so I literally think he pulls plays out of a hat. I mean, maybe not literally pulls plays, but he's got some type of system where he doesn't play situational football a lot of times. He'll randomly pick a play because he doesn't want there to be tendencies that teams can pick up on. Because I've watched him call plays defensively where I'm like, what in the world is he doing? It makes no sense. It makes no sense. The only rationale that I can think of is that he's doing it to be random, And he doesn't he doesn't seem to adjust in game to match offenses adjustments, you know, like you're talking about with the screens, you know. I mean, if he was like, oh, I didn't think they were going to throw screens, he, you know, during game, he'll be like, well, we're just going to have to deal with it. I don't know. Now, Cohen definitely adjusts. I mean, he just play to play, it feels like. You know, you see him do stuff that where you're like, oh, he did that because they were doing this earlier, you know? And he definitely adjusts during the game. You know, but it seems like he almost does it play by play. He doesn't have a set a script. I don't think he plays a script. You know, Bruce Arians was a script guy. You know, first 30 plays or 15 minimum, scripted. I don't feel like Cohen's got that. He's definitely one of those. He talks about it too, the flow of the game. You know, adjust according to the flow of the game, which I really like. I really, 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 really like what Cohen's been doing. A lot of things I want to start pointing out that I've been noticing. And they did it in this game too, that I was like, oh, I like that. But right, yeah, right, Al. You feel you see it too. He doesn't adjust to the down and distance. How many times have we sat here and gone, you know, it's 3rd and 3. Why are you playing soft zone 10 yards off the ball? Yeah, it just seems to be about 50-50, Edward. You know, sometimes the call will work, sometimes it doesn't, you know, and it's just like a random thing. You really get a sense of randomness, you know. I I used to sit down and chart like all the defensive plays with you know, back when we had Lovie Smith and Arthur Smith and uh, uh, Shiano and all those guys. You know, I'd sit down and I'd be like, oh, they're playing this defense, you know, da 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 da. And I kept spreadsheets and everything. And when Todd Bowles came in, it was the first time I'd ever really studied a 3-4 defense. And Todd Bowles came in and he said, I couldn't figure out half the stuff he was doing. And after a couple of years, I realized nobody could figure this out. You know, it's not me. You know, I mean, I would analyze, I'd go through books. Uh, I'd even pull up Madden play calls, you know, go through all the play calls for every team. I'd go through hundreds of plays and I'd be like, what is he doing? What is this? You know, and I realized it's not, I don't know, it's either Todd Bowles' thing or it's just a total mishmash and everybody's just confused and don't know what's going on out there. And that happens a lot with our defense because it's so complex. We're doing so much all the time that a lot of times these guys get confused and it just turns into a big mess. You know, I think we're going to see a lot of that when we look at this all 22. I predict minimum 6 plays where our guys are totally lost or blown coverage, you know, just, you know, that's like 10%. And when you factor in just passing plays, it's going to be upwards of like 20%. You know, and you can't win games when 20% of the time you guys are confused or playing the wrong play, or you know, half the guys are playing zone, the other half are playing man, or you know. The Marvin Lewis of our franchise. Oh man, that hurts. Oof. Eesh. Well, I'm not. I'd like to get like Vrabel. I like that type of mentality. You know, um, my brain was going way ahead here. I'm like, you know, if we fired Bowles, who would we get? I don't think Liam Cohen is nowhere near ready to be a head coach. And I'm just thinking real quick about who's out there, and I was like, oh, Vrabel, you know. I'm still a big Cliff Kingsbury fan. I think that, you know, he's going to be a head coach again here soon. I wouldn't mind us getting him. Anyhow, ugh, gosh. Yeah, I probably do need to eat. I don't know if Cohn's ready. I mean, he hasn't shown that he's not ready to be an offensive coordinator. That's for sure. I mean, he's like a pro, a vet. It's amazing the work he's done. It's just good. It's just good stuff. Uh, so he could be a he could be ready to be a head coach. I don't know. Just kind of makes me a little. That's a big step. That's the problem. Yeah, Al. Yeah, if we don't make him head coach, he's probably gonna be a head coach somewhere else. I don't know about this year or next year coming up, but definitely the year after. I don't know. I don't know. Gronkowski for head coach. I like dinosaurs. Yeah, I'd rather put him in as head coach and try it, do a lottery ticket than let him go somewhere else. That's for sure. That's for sure. But Rampage, I think I talked about that. Nassim Taleb, who I think is probably one of our greatest philosophers of our generation, you know, he says, if you want somebody to get work done, hire an ugly person. Because, and I'm not saying Cohn's ugly. I'm saying Canales was a pretty boy. And his philosophy is, people who are not blessed in the looks department have gone through more adversity, and so they're harder. They can handle stuff better than people who are pretty. So I've always liked that philosophy, and when y'all bring that up, I always think of that. I was like, Canales, yeah, he was basically handed everything to him, and so Cohen probably is better because he has had to face more diversity. But yeah, if it came down to losing him to another team or making him head coach, I would definitely go with making him head coach. Gotti, what's up, brother? There you go. I'm glad you said that, man. I'm glad you said that. I y'all know how I feel. I don't like to call on people to be fired and all that good stuff. It's just I'm emotional today, man. I'm emotional today, and just take everything I say with a grain of salt. We're just getting stuff off our chest. We're ranting. Cohen will be head coach for Carolina in 2025. I think he's smarter than that. I do. I don't think he'd take the job, Tom. I don't think he would. I think any smart coach wouldn't have taken that job, man. Yeah, he was going to get the blame either way. Either way. I, Gotti, I'm going to play this for you, and for all the other people who came in. This is like the first thing I complained about. Uh, when Godwin got hurt last night, the first thing I did is I screamed up and I stood up. I was worried about him and everything, but my first reaction was that was a hip drop tackle, right? And then ESPN, bunch of powder puffs. We're not going to replay it. I'm like, I don't care if you don't show the injury. You can blur it out. I don't care. I want to see the tackle, because you couldn't see it from the one angle. I actually filmed it on my phone. It's the only angle we had, and you couldn't really tell if it was a hip drop tackle. But anyhow, all 22 came out right before we got online. And the first thing I did was looked at it, and it's definitely 100% hip drop tackle. And I'll show it to you. The definition of okay, here's Godwin. He's got the ball. The definition of a hip drop tackle is you approach a player from the back or the sides. Actually, I think they might have cut that language out. You wrap him up with two arms, or you grab him with both hands, and you drop your weight onto his lower legs. And that's exactly what Roquan Smith did. If you look, he grabs Godwin by both hands. He approaches him from the side, grabs him by both arms, and then lifts both of his feet up off the ground. Right there, you can see both of his feet. Not that this part of the rule book, but both of his feet are in that direction off the ground. And then he drops his hip, his butt, whatever you want to call it, right on Godwin's leg. Right here. And I was just furious that one, the commentators didn't say anything, and you could just look at Godwin. Oh gosh, it's so hard to watch. I feel so bad for him. And they wouldn't replay it. It would be a totally different story today if they would have shown this tackle from every angle, because everybody would have seen that was a hip drop tackle. Roquan Smith needs to be, he should have been kicked out of the game, but that's just me being pissy right now. But we should have gotten a 15-yard penalty, automatic first down, 15 yards. And this was a 21-yard catch. And we would have been damn close to field goal range. Another play or so, we could have got field goal range, kick field goal. It would have been a totally different game. Everybody would have been talking totally different about this. The national conversation would have been the hip drop tackle. But they wouldn't replay it. It pissed me off. Oh, I'm so aggravated with that. I've been so aggravated. Y'all have heard me talk about, how they're being very selective of what they're replaying and reshowing and all that crap. Anyhow, I wanted you to see that. I wanted you to see that, Gotti, and everybody else that came in late. Um, I've- we're going to get that safe space set up for you, Tom, so you can. I know how the offensive you're so sensitive. What they said, Wayne, they said that the NFL is, last I heard, the NFL is looking to see if they're going to fine him. They're looking to see if it was a hip drop tackle. But I mean, it was obviously a hip drop tackle. There's no question about it. I could zoom in on it and everything. I actually want to make a standalone video on it, just so that people could see it. But right, that's how I feel, Gulliver. I'm like, a fine's not enough. I mean, I want an apology, maybe not even from him, but from the officials for just screwing it up so bad. It would have been a totally different outcome, totally different game. It would have been, the conversation would be totally different if we would have gotten within a touchdown. If we would have gotten in field goal range, kicked field goal, 7 points with 50 some seconds left. Yeah. Everybody would be talking totally different. And if ESPN would have shown this tackle instead of being a bunch of powder puffs, I don't know what they were thinking. Anyhow, in the NFL, what did we talk about during the off season? This is going to be, how are they going to judge this? Or is it going to disrupt the game? Are we going to have, we talked about it all off season, and then we all watched the preseason. And we were like, well, they're not really throwing the flag that much. It seems like guys have adjusted to it and everything. It was a point of emphasis. Remember this point of emphasis? Perfect example. And they go, we'll look at it later and maybe find the guy. And Jim Harbaugh's on here talking about a late flag that was picked up. Oh, that's his brother. Ah, my gosh. We got the Falcons coming up too. Most important game of the year up to this point for sure. But is Molly in there? Oh, sorry, Tom. I need to put up a trigger warning for you. Yeah. Yeah, and I don't want to be the guy that, says, oh, it was dirty play or anything, but this guy, he knew it was illegal. And you could see, I mean, it wasn't like it was a crowd of people and it just, just things happen. No, he intentionally did this. He could have tackled Chris Godwin, just like straight up tackle him. But no, he grabbed him, swung his legs up, dropped down on his legs. He could. I think it was dirty. I wanted 100% think he did it on purpose and it was dirty. Especially after the way he got up. Like I said, he got up and he hit Godwin's leg that was hurt. If you watch it on the replay, he like drags his foot over. But anyhow, he just gets up and walks away, knowing that Godwin is hurt. He knew it. He just got up and walked away. I think they were pissed that the Buccaneers were trying to win. They're ready to go home. He's like, I'll show you, whatever. I don't know. I'm mind reading there. But it was obviously a dirty play. He knew what he was doing. There wasn't nobody else around. It wasn't, like an accident or whatever. Smith is dirty, right? Yeah. And he said it last year. He said, hey, this is what, when Burrow got hurt playing the Ravens. He was like, that's what happens when you play those. And I talked about it on the live stream. So these guys hit, they play hard. We're going to get hurt. If we come out of this without serious injuries, then we consider that a win. Yeah, Joe. Yeah. And like I said, in that game, they also tried to get Gronkowski too, but at least I'm pretty sure it was that game. But he was able to see the guy coming. Godwin couldn't see the guy coming. And Gronkowski was able to lift his leg up just in time. But he was going straight for Gronkowski's knee. We'll get that hooked up for you, Tom. We'll get the cookies and milk in there too. You like teddy bears? Oh man, I tell you. All right, I'm going to get off here. I got to eat something. Like I said, I haven't eaten anything all day except a sausage biscuit this morning. I've been like physically ill and just kind of sick. Just, I mean, it's not that we lost. It's Chris, man. It's Godwin. I really like. I mean, look. I mean, I'm wearing this jersey every live stream or every game day for the rest of the season, man. Just in solidarity. He's got to be probably the nicest football player that's ever played the sport. It's the same thing with Shaq Barrett. I loved Shaq Barrett. Just loved him to death. I was so just crushed what happened to him and getting rid of him and all that because he was just genuinely a nice guy, And same thing with Godwin. I just got a lot of respect for these guys to have character like that. And just the bad stuff happens to them. Why does the bad stuff happen to bad people? All right. Anyhow, guys, I do appreciate you guys, man. Y'all are the best. And, tomorrow will be a different day. We got to move on. We're going to watch this all 22, see what happened. I guarantee you, just like normal, we're going to see stuff that's going to change our mind as to what happened during the game. We'll figure out the score prediction tomorrow too. Who won that? I think it might have been Tom. I think you were pretty darn close. But guys, I got to get off here. I appreciate y'all hanging out, and if you can, come back tomorrow. It'll be different. It won't be so negative. We'll have a good live stream tomorrow and everything. I do appreciate you guys putting up with me and sitting here grousing with me. You know, tough day, tough game. Life goes on now. And it is what it is. Got to take your lumps. All right. Anyhow, till next time, screw the refs and go Bucks. And God bless you, Chris Godwin.